In the shadow of Babel's ruin, where the tongues of men were sundered and pride laid low, the world fell once more into the mire of idolatry. The light of truth flickered, nearly extinguished, as nations turned to gods of stone and silver. Yet the Almighty, ever faithful, preserved a remnant to bear his will. From Adam to Seth, Enoch to Methuselah, Noah to Shem, an unbroken line held fast to the sacred oracles. And now, in the fullness of time, the Lord chose Abraham, son of Terah, of the line of Shem, to be the keeper of his law, a beacon amidst the darkness of heathenism. Abraham dwelt in Ur of the Chaldees, a land steeped in superstition, where even his father's house wavered, blending worship of the true God with the lures of false deities. Yet Abraham stood apart, faithful among the faithless, his heart steadfast in devotion to Jehovah. To him came the divine promise, a covenant to stir the soul. I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And greater still the assurance that through his seed the Redeemer of the world would come, a blessing to all nations. Yet this promise demanded a sacrifice, a test of faith to prove his heart. The voice of the Lord thundered, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. No map was given, no destination revealed. Abraham must sever ties with home, kindred, and the familiar plains of Mesopotamia, to dwell among strangers in a land unknown. His obedience was swift, unwavering, a testament to faith's power, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. With Sarah his wife and Lot his nephew he set forth, leading a great company of servants, flocks, and those drawn to the worship of the true God through his witness in Haran. Into the land of Canaan they came, strangers in a strange land. In the valley of Shechem, under the ancient oaks of Moreh, Abraham pitched his tent, surrounded by olive groves and gushing springs, between the sentinel peaks of Ebal and Gerizim. A fair and goodly land it was, rich with wheat, barley, vines, and honey. Yet a shadow lay upon it, for the Canaanites dwelt there, their altars to false gods, staining the hills with human blood. Abraham's heart, though heavy with foreboding, clung to the divine promise. And lo, the Lord appeared, proclaiming, Unto thy seed will I give this land. Strengthened, Abraham built an altar, calling upon the name of the Lord. At Bethel, too, he raised another, his life a prayer, his encampments a testimony to the living God. Even when he moved on, his altars remained, guiding roving Canaanites to the worship of Jehovah. But the land of promise was not without its tests. The heavens withheld their rain, the brooks dried, and the grass withered. Famine gripped Canaan, threatening Abraham's flocks and people. Eyes watched the patriarch, seeking signs of doubt, yet his faith held firm. He did not turn back to the fertile plains of Chaldea, where bread was plentiful, nor did he forsake the land God had chosen. Instead he sought refuge in Egypt, a temporary haven near the land of promise, trusting in the Lord's guidance. In earnest prayer, he sought to preserve his people, his confidence unshaken by the trials that beset him. Yet Abraham was not without flaw. In Egypt, fearing for his life, he concealed that Sarah was his wife, naming her his sister to shield her beauty from the covetous eyes of the Egyptians. This deception, born of doubt in divine protection, imperiled Sarah. The Pharaoh, struck by her fairness, took her to his palace, intending to make her his wife, but the Lord, in his mercy, sent judgments upon the royal house, revealing the truth. The king, indignant yet awed, reproved Abraham. What is this that thou hast done unto me? Why saidst thou, She is my sister? Sarah was restored, and Abraham, spared by Pharaoh's kindness, was escorted from Egypt with his company, enriched yet chastened. This trial in Egypt was no mere happenstance. The Lord, in his providence, used affliction to refine Abraham's faith, as gold is purified in the furnace. Like Job in his suffering, or John exiled on Patmos, Abraham was taught to lean upon God alone, to trust in his unseen hand. Through such trials, the Almighty reveals weaknesses, offering his servants the chance to grow strong in faith, ready for the grand purpose he has ordained. Abraham's experience in Egypt became a testimony, for the account of God's protection spread among the heathen, a warning that the King of Heaven guarded his anointed. Abraham's journey mirrors that of his descendants, who, centuries later, would also seek refuge in Egypt from famine, only to depart enriched by divine favor. Abraham's life, a beacon of prayer and obedience, calls to us across the ages. Many today hear the same divine summons, not in thunder from the heavens, but in the quiet teachings of God's word and the stirrings of providence, to leave cherished plans, to forsake wealth and honor, to walk a path of sacrifice. These are the tests of faith. Yet those who, like Abraham, obey with willing hearts shall share in the eternal glory that outweighs all earthly loss. The Lord knows the thoughts he thinks toward his people, thoughts of peace, not of evil. In the furnace of affliction he refines, preparing his servants for his work. Abraham, the friend of God, walked by faith, not by sight, and his altars stand as monuments to a trust unshaken. So too must we, in our own time, heed the call, counting all loss as gain for the sake of Christ, until the day when the promise is fulfilled and all nations are blessed through the seed of Abraham.